Hey everybody, how are we doing? Yes, that was almost a full inch of rain in the gauge. And that's the second rain in a week. So out here, the boys are in the big pasture. I've moved these three over. And if you notice a few temporary fences, you don't see the girls. They're way over the hill. But as you can see, I put up a temporary 2 corral panels here. I set up some corral panels here. And basically what I'm doing is I'm just not allowing the rams to get right next to the ewes. I'm putting them a little bit of space. Sometimes I'm still not comfortable with that. I figure right now nobody's in season probably, it's no big deal. Somebody gets in season we might have, but we're gonna leave these guys out here for a little bit. Like I said, had almost over an inch of rain a week ago, now today, still might yet today. Their pasture is gonna be greening up some more. So once we do that, I'm probably gonna move them back over, go from there. But there's our guys. Stoney, I just did some pictures the other day. Stoney is 27 months old, and we think he's getting pretty close. We got to get a measurement on him here, hopefully in the next couple weeks. Greystone's going out, and I got to bring him in and out. We'll see which way it works, but yeah, we're gonna get a measurement on you, figure out how big you really are. And this little guy over here, hey, you got a little bit of cut in the head. You guys been fighting. You always do anyway. Lomax is 15 months. We figured out he's 15. Greystone back there should be just about the same. So, but looks like you guys been fighting. I see a little red on your head. Lomax, you got a cut in your head. You're gonna even look at me? No? Hey, right here. Yeah. Tell you what, you got rams. They're gonna fight. They always do. So sometimes more than others. All right, we're gonna get into nutrition and stuff in a minute. Let's go over here. I wanna show you, hang on, we're gonna show you the last of the little guys. All right, we'll come over here. Here's our little guys that are left. Yeah, got the 4 of you that are left. Everybody else is headed out to the new homes, just these guys. Now, I do have them here separately from the bigger rams. I know a lot of people put them together, and I don't really think that's a problem putting them together. I see a lot of people do it, but I had the extra pin, and I figured if I got the spare pin, we're just gonna leave them by themselves. They can stay here by themselves. Come October, the rams will be ready to go in with the ewes. Then after that, come next December, I'll put the 2 rams back together after being separated, let them fight it out for a little bit, and then after that, I'll throw everybody together. All the rams are all gonna go together at that time. So we got these guys. Don't know what we'll do as far as with them. Yeah, might keep you. You're a little too friendly. You shouldn't be, he doesn't have any fear. And that's not necessarily a good thing when you're dealing with rams. All right, nutrition. Oh, hey, before we get nutrition, I know, we'll get to it, don't worry. I want to say thank you to everybody that purchased lambs this year. I'll tell you, I started doing these videos a couple of, 2, 3, 4 years ago, whatever it was. The idea was you couldn't find any videos about raising hornhair sheep, so that's what I thought, let's do that. And people can watch me make mistakes and they can learn along the way as I'm learning myself. I guess I never really thought we'd get into finding people from all around the country that watch my videos and then want to come purchase some lambs. And I really appreciate it. I have Maya, I hope I pronounced that right, I think I did, came from Michigan, took some lambs home with her. AJ and his wife came from Tennessee and picked up some lambs and took them back. So I guess I'm just amazed by that, of people coming from around the country, and I really want everybody to know I appreciate it. I appreciate the local guys too that came in and picked some up locally too. Appreciate everybody that's buying lambs, but I just want to let everybody know, especially for those subscribers that happen to purchase some, hey, I really appreciate it. Okay, nutrition. It's mainly about the ewes, but you can't see the ewes because they're way over the hill eating grass because it rained and it's cool, and so they're going to be outside. We weaned the lambs. We were feeding heavy. They were getting grass. I was supplementing with alfalfa. They were getting plenty of grain, and By the grain, I'm usually feeding the 16%. I feed a 12% sweet feed, a 32% supplement. You put it together, you get 16%. That's what we've been feeding. When we took the lambs off, that's when I changed on the ewes. First thing I did on the ewes, I just went to a 12% sweet feed. They didn't need the full 16%, at least as far as I was concerned, they didn't. And they don't get much. There's now, 11 ewes left in the pen. I take a 3-pound coffee can, I put about that much in it. That's all they're getting. Just a little bit of grain so they have it. I also stopped the alfalfa. Now, the bale over here was a big round bale of alfalfa. It was one I had left from last year. I was feeding the rams, I was feeding all the little ones, and feeding the ewes. But once we got done, I just had a little bit of round bale inside, came down, took a bobcat. These are sitting on a pallet. I flipped them over on top of a pallet. So I brought the bobcat down, picked that round bale up, moved it inside the barn so it would be back there by all the weaned ones so I could feed them. And then I took one of the grass bales from what we baled about a month ago, moved that over. So the ewes immediately went from alfalfa to grass hay. And boy, did I get a lot of dirty looks. They weren't happy with me, not a bit, getting rid of their alfalfa. But I figured they didn't really need it, so I moved them over. These guys in here, I'm still giving them some alfalfa and some grass. They get a little bit of both. And the rams, if they need it, they're just getting grass hay too now. So that's all they need too. And I'll eventually, these guys will get put out in that pasture a little while. I'm letting that grass grow. Now that we've had 2 rains, I want to let it grow a little bit. And then, so it gets a little bit of a head start. And then I'll put those 4 out there. And hopefully, if we get a few more rains, the grass will be able to stay ahead of them because there's just 4 of them and they're not very big. But that's what we're getting into. We're weaning ewes. We wean the ewes off, or the lambs off the ewes. So basically we want to cut back their feed to help them dry up. Make it a little bit easier for them to get dried up, make it more comfortable for them. But I have an opportunity to talk one other thing about nutrition. I'm going to hang you up on the fence here. One of the guys that came in and picked up some ewe lambs and a ram lamb from me this year had also purchased some ram lambs last year. When I was out of ewes, he bought some ram lambs anyway. And then later in the year, I got a hold of him because I had a couple yearling rams. I had another deal that they were supposed to go, that thing fell through. So he came in and bought 2 yearling rams from me. So he was here a week or so ago picking up lambs, and we were talking and showing pictures. And he showed me, here's the pictures of the 2 yearlings that he purchased last year. They are now 2 years old. Now, don't get me wrong, they're not Gold Star, but they're getting to be some pretty nice sized rams. And so we talked about that and discussed with that, and I said, I got a question. What are you feeding them? What do you feed? Those are 2 really nice rams at 2 years old, pretty nice rams at 2 years. You know, so what are you feeding to get that horn growth? And he said, basically, he said, they're out on pasture. He keeps some grass hay in a feeder, so they got some grass hay if they want. And then he throws them out a little bit of cracked corn every day. Not much, just a little. And that's it. So what's cracked corn? 7, 8, 9, 10%? I'd probably somewhere between 8 and 10%, I would assume protein is cracked corn. That's all he's given, and he still gets the horn growth that way. And it all comes back to what I've preached so much, it's genetics. You start with good genetics, you don't have to worry so much about what you're feeding. If you don't start with good genetics, I'll guarantee you, you can't feed your way out of poor genetics. Ain't gonna happen. You need to start out with the good genetics at the beginning, and when you do that, you're gonna be good. And the second thing, you don't have to give, I think it shows me you don't have to give that much protein. I'm a big believer in, I'm doing 16%, but my ewes, they're coming down to 12%. I like the 60, but I've seen people talking 20% or more than that, and I need 20% protein, plus then they need a protein tub, and they need all this stuff because protein grows horns. You know, horns aren't antlers. But they don't need to, in my opinion, and that's my opinion, has always been they don't need that much protein. We've always said horns are like fingernails. A good balanced diet, good protein, good balanced diet. It helps grow fingernails, it helps grow horns. But if you go excessive on that, just remember, fingernails are also toenails. and you can end up with bad feed. You push that protein too much and you can end up with bad feed when it's all said and done. The painted deserts I've had here now for over 2 years. I've trimmed their feet once. That's it. When we brought them in, when we vaccinated this last time, the last video, we vaccinated all the lambs, vaccinated the ewes for CDT shots for all the ewes and everything. I had one that I needed to have my daughter on my check. On the front foot, it had one toenail to clip off. On the back, it had one. That was it. Now, my daughter, on the other hand, raises goats. And goats and sheep aren't exactly the same, but she raises dairy goats, and she feeds much heavier because she's showing them. So she's got show goats, she needs them for showing, and she's trying to earn stars on milk production. So there's a lot of grain going in when you're feeding that way, because there's a lot of grain going in because you're trying to get their milk production up and this and that and doing that stuff. So what goes with that is she's probably trimming hooves every 3 months. She's in there all the time trimming hooves. Your protein, when you increase a lot, it can help your horns, but it can also give you foot problems. So think about that. Don't get too excessive, because you can end up with foot problems when it's all said and done to go along with everything else. So, all right, that's my preaching for the day. I'm just a big believer that you don't have to feed a ton of protein. Just good, balanced diet. I'm not telling you that's right. I'm not telling you that's wrong. I'm just telling you that's the way I do it. So, all right, done with that. Greystone goes out of here in a week or two. We do want to get the rams in. I do want to try to measure Stoney. Maybe we'll wait till we get him in here and get him measured, stuff like that. Maybe we'll do it at that time and see if we can get another video then. But otherwise, I will see you the next time I got something worth a video.